Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight highs up here, overnight lows down here. These are our key levels for the day. And so starting off, I started trading around this area right here. This is 8 o'clock Central Time. We're pushing lower here. Notice we have this range going right here. We have these highs, we have these lows. We're clearly going sideways there. We break out and we have these two legs back, retesting the range. And then this higher low right here, I do think it looks good. I missed out on it in the moment because it was a little bit sideways, and then when it closed, I wanted something that's closing like high up and like pushing higher here, so I didn't want to enter on that right there. But then this right here, it closed kind of in the middle, and so I didn't want to enter on that. But if I had gotten this trend line in time, which I barely didn't get it in time because it wasn't quite off of that low right there, and so it just took a little bit longer to get. At first, I was looking for stuff more like this, but if I drew it like this, I would have seen that it held there, and then it pushed up, and then it held there again, and then also it was holding pretty well off these highs. So if I had gotten this in time, then I would have taken that. But considering it was a bit sideways, it wasn't too bad. And then it was holding on that EMA. It was holding on this high right here, this range high that it was retesting. And then it had room to here. So if I draw this for you, we can see that we have room to those overnight highs there. Plus we have this up measured move in play at that moment. So this is a good looking trade. I missed out on it. When it's going a little bit sideways like that and then it closes in the middle, it just makes me worried. And so if I had seen that we were, in this pretty clear looking trend line right here, then I would have taken that, but I just didn't see it at the time. So to me, it just looked like, a bit sideways, closing in the middle, not that high probability, but if I had seen that we had this as well, then that looks a lot better. So anyway, so we push up here, we break out, we reach that. Notice how as soon as we reach this measured move here, we start getting a little bit congestive, and then when we push out of it, we retest that level again. So that's not a coincidence. That's market geometry. It's how the market moves. Notice we bounce off this trend line again here. I don't see any, after we push up here, I don't see any more longs because we don't get to the EMA, and then we rush down, and then this, even though you're off that key entry point right there, it's after one sharp move down. And so when price breaks out of a range, you can expect two attempts to retest it or two attempts to fade. In this case, we have this range here, so when you break out, price is expected to attempt to fade, so you can expect a second leg like that. And so when we only get one really sharp push down, it's just a first entry. It's not like it's two clear legs down. It's just one leg down with the potential of a second leg down. You don't want to enter, on a first entry just because it's off the key entry point. Because this is a magnet right here. These levels are magnets. It attracts prices to it, and it only has one attempt so far, so it's just not ideal. So we push back up here. We get a little bit choppy around that EMA. It's closing above, then back below, then back above, and back below. Nothing to take there. You don't want to enter short right into this trend line right here in case it does hold again, because at this point, with this trend line right here, it's a battle between the longs and the shorts. The longs want to buy off this trend line. The shorts want to retest this magnet right here, the overnight high. And so you really have to go with what is most strong. And when it's chopping around like that, and you only have one attempt this way, one attempt that way, it's just price doesn't know what it's doing. You have to wait for one way to play out and then stay with whatever is most strong. So we push lower here. We get this first leg break, second leg pushing back into the overnight high. We get these small corrections here. We don't quite reach the EMA. There's no way to enter on that safely. And, I didn't mean to move that just now. So we overshoot. We have this downtrend forming here, this larger one. It only has two bounces off the highs. It doesn't actually confirm, but we do overshoot here, and then we don't hold a third time. We just push straight through. And we really, at first, there's really no significant attempts at a new low. It just keeps going up higher. We don't even reach the EMA, and so there's no way to enter long on any of that because you need price to correct to the EMA. And then we bounce off the overnight high here, and then we kind of just start chopping between the overnight high and the EMA here. So we have this uptrend, which, of course, I want to go over the levels. At first, it's a smaller leg, and then you start getting the second leg here. But then, of course, on a bigger picture, that's just one leg. So we have this push up here, break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher. So you can see the uptrend, the break, and the two legs to a new high, because that's how trends play out. When you get a break of a trend, you can expect price to have a couple attempts at a new extreme, whether it's an uptrend or a downtrend. And this uptrend has a break and 2 legs up to a new high right here. And then we have this lower high right here, and it's forming a triple test. So after those 2 attempts at a new high, we have an extra push higher here that forms a lower high and a triple test, because we can tell it's a triple test because of the 3 pushes higher right there. But it's also a lower high that's trapping this green bar here. Notice how we ticked higher and then we just shot way below, almost to the end of that bar. And then if you get in with a limit order, you can actually get out. You can get out with your target before you have to push out of this range down here. So I like that right there. Triple test, uptrend just played out at the overnight high. That's where you expect reversal anyway. And then it is choppy, but you're getting out inside of this tight range anyway, so that's not really much of a concern. The only concern here is the EMA, except given the big picture context of where you are, you're at the overnight high right after a triple test, and the overnight high, that's a reversal area. So I wasn't too concerned about the EMA, especially because the EMA was within this tight range right here. It did end up bouncing for a bit and coming pretty close up there. It was held down by this level that was forming here. We can see that resistance right there from these bars over here. Retested that, and then it just dropped down. And so we can actually see on a bigger picture, you can see this downtrend has a break, attempt at a new low, and then it failed and went up higher there. And so it dropped a lot more than that range right there, but you can't really expect that to happen. It's, you got to stay safe, keep it within the support level. But we push out of it, we keep going lower here, we get this downtrend, we break, and when we break, we just shoot up higher. We get this correction here, it doesn't reach the EMA. And so I see this right here, you see first entry short, second entry short, failure. You really can't enter that. You didn't pull back enough to the EMA, it didn't even touch the EMA. So we push up again, we start going choppy right here. Notice how we're going in this range. I've extended the range since. But at first we have this clear range like this. It's just going sideways. It's at the overnight highs. Now, when you bounce like this right here, this is a sign of a bullish imbalance. At first, we nearly reached the overnight low. But then when we bounce here, really strong like that, only halfway in the range, that's a sign of a bullish imbalance. And so you got to be aware of, going short. Once you're in a bullish imbalance, you got to be aware of a possible uptrend forming. So when you get a bounce like that, I recommend trying to find an uptrend. So we're going sideways here. We push back in. There's really no way to get in on this short here. It's just chop, and then we just plummet out of it. And then we bounce up here. At first I'm going to have one range here at a time. At first we have the range like this, and then after we push out and bounce back up higher here, we have this right here. We can get that third bounce right there, and then we kind of just drop down again. We have this lower high right here, but it's right into these range lows right here, as well as it's just chopping within the overnight high. It closed above the overnight high. There's no safe way to enter short right there. But then we start finding resistance at this level down here again. And so now we have this right here. We have this, that, and that. We're clearly forming this larger range. We have these highs, we have these lows. Yeah, today was a slow day, especially near to the end. Last couple hours were just really, really slow. And I only got this one here. I didn't enter on this one. Like I mentioned, I only got this one right here. But anyway, so we're pushing lower here. It's really choppy. You don't want to enter on any of this. Even this right here, once you're closing above, it's right into the overnight high. You don't know for sure if it's going to get above, because every time it's gotten to that level, it's gotten really choppy. And so you don't want to enter into that level while you're already in this choppy area down here. It's already forming another range inside of this range. So you want to be careful of that. Notice how I'll draw this here. You have to push it all the way through. It ended up reaching this and finding more resistance up here, it looks like. So, which isn't surprising, because the more it chops through, the more likely it is to go through it, but it is a strong level, and you just don't want to enter into it when you're already in some mess down here. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. That's the whole day. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see y'all next time.